We're exhausted right now. We're a little delirious. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Dan and Leslie here with another video about moving to Orlando, and this one's on the stickier side of things.
Today we are going to talk all about how we broke it to our friends and family that we were making the move, taking the Florida plunge, moving next to Disney World.
They heard it on the podcast.
They did not. But speaking of the podcast, if you are enjoying videos by us, then you would probably really like our podcast where you can dive in a little bit deeper with us and get to know us a little bit more. So we publish our podcast every Sunday and Wednesday. It's called Addicted to the Mouse, so you should check it out.
And thanks so much to all of you that have reached out to ask questions about moving to Orlando. We love interacting with each and every one of you. Thanks to our clients that we have met through this YouTube channel.
Yes.
If you would like help booking your next magical vacation to Disney, Universal, Cruise Lines, or check us out next week. We are going to Sandals to St. Lucia, so we do book all-inclusive resorts as well. So check out that if you've ever wondered what it was like. We're going to record all 3 Sandals resorts on St. Lucia, so that's a first for us.
Yeah, so you can find us at fantasticalvacations.com.
Let's talk a little bit about how we broke the news to our friends and family. So I know this is something that a lot of you stress about, and I've been in forums about moving to Orlando and everything from not wanting to...
Oh my gosh.
What in the world?
I don't know. I just washed my hair. She doesn't like it whenever I don't smell like her.
Everything from, not wanting to hurt anyone's feelings, or maybe just you not wanting to get hurt because it does hurt. Like, this was the hardest part for us about moving to Orlando. In fact, we just put our kids, why we're so tired is we just put our kids on a nightmare series of flights. It was like 25 hours just to get them back from Orlando to Tulsa, which is not normal, but with all the cancellations that are happening right now, it was a little bit much. But we did that because they miss their friends and family just like we do.
I feel like in order to talk about how we broke it about the move, we kind of had to back up just a little bit because really breaking it to our friends and family that we were moving was a little easier, I feel like, for us because we had kind of prepped them with what our original plan was going to be.
So our original plan, we were going to, if you've been around the channel, you already know, if you have listened to our Financial Independence to Travel series, we were saving up to take a gap year, and we were going to take the kids out of school and we were going to homeschool them while we toured around the world. Of course, COVID put a dent in that. So we pulled our plans forward to start a travel agency and move to Orlando. They didn't know that initially though. The other backstory here is, and this is a little bit of an insight into how and what made it a little bit either easier or harder on our ends, was our relationships with our families pre-COVID with respect to living in the same place and living apart. So my parents, so I'm an only child, no wisecracks. I'm an only child, and my parents, they moved away to live in Houston, about 9 hours away from us early on. So we already had that relationship of being able to do the long distance thing. So I felt like that was something that we were already familiar with.
I'm the baby of the family. No wisecracks there. And had always, outside of going to college, had lived in the same town as my family. So my parents are in the Tulsa area, my sister and her family, pretty much all of my nieces and nephews had been there until, they started moving away for college, but we were all right there, would get together regularly to celebrate birthdays or for pool days or to go blueberry picking or whatever it was. And so we saw each other quite frequently.
The first thing that we thought was important to do, and it worked out well for us, was to come up with our reasonings for moving. And that is something that came up quite a bit with everybody we told. And it's really important to find your why. So this is something that I have talked about a lot with, like, in the military, with like my subordinates, and in business, is like to really know your why in everything that you do and have that purpose. And so our why, it did center around Disney. But it wasn't like just to come and go to theme parks. We were starting a we had started a travel agency at that point, and that travel agency lives and breathes Disney. Like Disney is, and Universal, of course, those are the like the bread and butter of what we represent. And being here and creating content around those two suppliers in particular is really kind of integral to the business.
Another piece of our why, aside from, and probably added into the why of why we even launched a travel agency and all of that, is that from years ago when Dan and I started bringing the boys and coming to Florida and visiting, every time we would land, and if you've listened to our podcast or watched these videos, you know what I'm getting ready to say, but every time we would land in the airport or we would cross over the state line, we both would kind of sigh and say, we're home. Like, it just felt right. And for the longest time, we thought that it was because we loved coming here so much, specifically to Disney, but then we started realizing that we didn't even have to be going to Disney. It happened when we went to Universal too. And then we thought, well, maybe it's just because we were going on vacation. But then we ventured out and we went to Alaska and we went to Hawaii, and it didn't happen in those places. And so it definitely just solidified the fact that Florida to us just felt right.
And the second piece of what we thought it was most important to be prepared with whenever we told our closest friends and family was how we were going to maintain relationships while we were here and being able to talk through that. So talking, I guess, like, first and foremost, like, here's what's happening, we're moving, but here's why we're moving, and here's how we're going to maintain a relationship with you when we do so. And that was kind of the framework on how we broke the news to everyone that we care about back home.
Was it easy? No.
No, of course not.
Presenting it the way we did helped them understand a little bit better where we were coming from and be able to be happy for us.
Specifically how we did it, so I will talk about my family first. So again, I'm an only child. My parents, they moved back from Houston, so we were living in the same town. In fact, my parents and your parents still live in the same town, and so that's convenient. So we can go back and we can see both sides of the family at the same time. But I just called my parents and I was talking to them about the business, and I said, hey, it is probably going to eventually come to the point where we are going to want to move that business to be next to what we sell and what we represent. Plus, it is our happy place. And other than the friends and family here, nothing else is really holding us to this place. And they took it very well, and they knew, just like I knew, that we had previously done long distance relationships and we could do that again. And so talking through that second half of, look, we live in the same town, and yes, we see each other more frequently, but it's for shorter periods of time, whereas it's just gonna look a little bit different. We're gonna see each other less frequently, maybe 2-3 times a year, but we're gonna see each other like for more days at a time and spend really quality time, like all day long, staying at each other's houses, that kind of thing. So it's not better time, it's just different quality time. But you could make the argument that there is more of it, like if you actually count the minutes in the time that you spend together.
With my family, it was pretty similar. Called them up and I kind of led with so we've decided that we're gonna put a pause on traveling the world. So, hey, I'm not gonna be across the world from you.
I'll be close, I'll just be down 18 hours away.
I'll be in the same country. Which is just a hop, skip, and a jump. Honestly, like I don't remember exactly how that conversation went, but I want to say that my mom said something to the effect of, yeah, it doesn't surprise me, because I feel like the writing had been on the wall for a long time that we wanted to do this.
Yeah, and I mean, if you are wanting to come to Orlando to be next to Disney or whatever your why is, unless it's just completely out of the blue, it's really not going to surprise anyone. Yeah. Both sets of family were very, very supportive. And honestly, we kind of said the same thing with our friends, but we can talk about that here in a second. But so both sets of family were very, very supportive. And I think it's because of the way that we framed it. And we were very intentional about saying, here's why we want to go. We've thought through this. We've thought through it from some time. Here's how we're going to maintain a relationship with you. And then I think the third piece of that is we gave them plenty of time to adjust. It wasn't like, hey, we're going next week.
Yeah.
It was like 14 months into the future.
Hey, so this isn't happening until spring of 2022. So you've got plenty of time.
And we talked about it in the fall of 2020. And so throughout the whole process, throughout looking for houses and coming down to check on the house and buy the house and all of that stuff, it was an adjustment period, which was actually pretty nice. So we got to all get used to the idea, us and them, and we got to, say our goodbyes slowly, which was a little bit difficult at the end, but everyone got used to the idea, and it just became just the natural thing. Like, yeah, they're moving to Orlando.
Friends, like you mentioned, pretty similar, and I think we specifically told our closest friends in person that we were moving, and I think they were very similar to yeah, it's about time, kind of figured, as everybody else. And honestly, our friends that we had, that we were closest to in Oklahoma, were so incredibly supportive of us just in general and what we did with launching our business and going on potentially a family gap year and all of that, that they were incredibly supportive with this as well.
They were. And then we told them early on as well, so they had plenty of time to adjust to. And I mean, 14 months is a long time, but the reason we did it that far in advance is because we knew that we wanted to talk about it on video and talk about it on the podcast and be able to share that journey with all of you. And we're so glad that we did. And so that's why we did it so early on. I'm not sure we would have done it 14 months early if we hadn't had these channels to share things with you. But I would still suggest definitely breaking the news as early as you feel comfortable and as early as you know for sure that this is something that you're going to do.
Yeah, it was kind of a unique experience breaking that news so early. We even told our jobs that early because people followed us on the podcast and the YouTube channel, and we didn't want any of those people that were vital in our life to find out that way.
We just wanted to be open about, like, here's our plan, what questions do you have, and let's have a discussion. And I think that was the best way that we possibly could have handled it, and everyone reacted very, very supportively. So I don't know, hopefully that helps. This has been a question that we get a lot on how, we did tell our family and what that was like. I know this is a scary subject for a lot of you that are considering this because, let's be honest, if you say that you're moving to Orlando for Disney World, people are gonna look at you a little funny.
All right, well, if you are liking what you see here, please click that like and subscribe button so that you don't miss our next video.
And we will see you on the next video.